Very sorry.
Oh, that's okay, no problem. Hey,
You're not gonna get in trouble for that, it's okay.
oh boy. All right, so, okay. Then, oh, I wanted to say, Marty coming up here giving you all these announcements, she's so amazing, she remembers all these. She spits them out at every meeting, no, she's so gracious, I didn't mean to say it like that. She just remembers all these dates, and I can't even imagine. I have to have a calendar, and Erica helps me with my calendar, and I have to write everything down. I just wanna say, Marty, if it's okay, that, she's doing a great job. I'm so proud of her for getting, in the newspaper on page 7, if you saw it. If you haven't seen it, I have a paper for you, let me know. On page 7, it's called Kind Knots. So she's an article, and it's very beautiful. She is exquisite the way she says her words, let me tell you. And I wanna say, I was at the art class, it was a blast. I was at the garden club meeting. I was at the movie, got to meet her children, and I just wanna say that she is doing a great job. And I know I said it before, but I know her grandparents, I remember them, and I know they're proud of her right now, and we all are. So, yeah. Yeah, and so, question, is it possible for us to make an ordinance or a resolution for the mayor to pay that $50,000 that the taxpayers are gonna have to pay? I'm just wanting to know if that's an option, yes or no. It doesn't have to be a long drawn out, I just want a simple, it's a simple question, I just want a simple answer, but before you answer, I have one more thing. I know they like us to, one more thing. Okay, or unless you wanna answer it real quick, go ahead. Okay, okay, so the last thing I wanted to say is, about the 5 warehouses again. Does anybody know when it's gonna go back to the planning board? But the judge ordered it to go back to the planning board, right?
No, but I'll answer both of those questions when you're done.
Okay, so yeah, I just wanna say that the judge said that, I'm sorry, I'm not really getting this right here. Okay, I'm just gonna say it like this. I was told it might go back to the planning board, it's back to another judge. Could we appeal that another judge saying, no, we want it to go back to the planning board? Can we appeal that? Can we make an appeal that we already said no, the planning board said no, the town council said no. I know you said we have to let them legally go back to the planning board, but I just wanna say that how much credence do you all have to give to the public, who hundreds of us went to those meetings saying we don't want these 5 warehouses? So there's my 2 questions, and I'm gonna be quiet and hear what you have to say.
The question concerning a resolution or an ordinance, the township adopted a resolution to settle the case. My recollection is that the resolution was critical of the mayor because this was the mayor, a lot of it pointed to the mayor. We don't have, you can prepare any kind of resolution of protest, but we don't have the right under these circumstances to order the mayor to pay the $50,000.
Okay,
And there's a question about the warehouses, I think.
yeah,
The case is still in the appellate division. I expect that maybe by the summer we'll get a decision from the appellate division. It's not yet been remanded back to the planning board. We've asked the appellate division to remand it back to the planning board.
to do what, remand?
To send it back to
I
the
don't know
planning
what
board.
remand means, but resend it back?
Yeah.
You asked them to?
We did. Stay tuned. We don't know yet. We'll wait for the
But
decision.
why did you ask them to bring it back to the planning board?
Because
Cause they already said no.
the approval from the town, from the planning board, was conditioned upon them getting out to Birmingham through that right of way. that's the planning board decision. But they need the township council's approval to do that. And township council said, we're not gonna do that.
Right,
So at this point, our position is they can't meet the condition of the approval.
right.
Okay. So it can't be approved.
But even if it was perfectly approved, the people have been going to the meeting saying, we don't want these 5 warehouses there. Does that hold any weight in the decisions that you guys are making? We don't want to.
I'm sure that the message from the public has an impact on the council people, sure.
It definitely does, Michelle.
But it doesn't have an impact on the judge. So that's where we are.
All right, let me think about it again. All right, I'm gonna keep bringing this up. Do you know when, because I don't want these warehouses. Do you know when in the summertime, the date of the court date is or anything?
No, I don't.
Okay.
We don't have that yet, Michelle.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Michelle, maybe one little explanation might be able to help you understand something. When we keep saying going back to the planning board, what that means is basically the 5 warehouses that were presented, as they presented their drawings and their applications to build. They have to go back to the planning board if that application is shot down. What that means is they have to basically start all over again. So they would have to reapply from jump. So any application would have to be modified so that they wouldn't need to come in off of Birmingham Road if that's one of the things that's shooting them down. So when they say sending it back to the planning board, it basically, in essence, Jerry, am I wrong? It's basically a way of saying they would have to start all over again.
Councilman's right.
And basically the way it's the same as if you were trying to build a house, and the house you wanted to build, you made an application to the planning board, and the planning board says, well, this isn't gonna work. So you have the right, because you can build a house there, to start all over again and reapply to the planning board again. Does that make any sense?
There's absolutely nothing we can do to stop that. We can't say, hey, go. We had meeting after meeting after meeting, hundreds of people, and we're gonna give credence to what the public says, and we don't want it back to the planning board. Are you saying that would not be an option?
The only option would be, as far as the public goes, to voice your opposition again if there were a new application.
Oh, go back to the planning board again and again?
Correct.
Be another public meeting.
Be another public meeting for everything from the start, just like they started 2 years ago.
Okay,
It
so
would
there's-
start all over
There's
again.
no other option, we can't appeal them, bringing it back, is that what you're saying? No
They
other
have the
op-
right to do it.
No other option?
Right now, we're hoping for a good decision from the appellate division, which we will know about this summer,
Okay,
and then that'll be the next step.
okay, we'll see, we all been fighting to stop all this development, so I'm gonna make sure I know what's going on.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
Anybody else for public comment this evening?
Evening, council.
Evening.
James Boland, 226 Filbert Avenue. And I'm actually wondering how to start off with what I want to talk about, because once I say what I'm talking about, I think a lot of people have preformed opinions on the matter, and so people, tend to stay with their opinions. But I've gotten a little information recently, and I think that I might be able to present this in a fresh light. So what I want to talk about is nothing more than TNR and stray cats, which is not big on anybody's, it's not big on my priority list. It's not the biggest problem in town, but it is a problem. I mean, it's a problem that anybody I talk to will readily admit that we do have a stray cat problem in town. Some areas more so than others. I happen to live in one of the areas where I'm told, James Boland, stop sending us cats, you're sending us too many. And I'm a guy who traps cats, right? So I'll start off by saying that. And some people think that's cruel, and some people think that's mean. I think it's actually humane, and I'm of that mindset from having talked to people in animal control and at the shelters. And the bottom line with it is, if you don't do anything, stray cats will overpopulate. They will cause problems for us, but they'll also cause problems for themselves, and they'll have kittens in the winter. They get hit by cars and things. They don't live as long as domesticated cats. A feral cat will maybe live half as long, and they starve out there. So I wanted to say that, it's actually humane to trap cats. But the problem is when you trap them and you take them to the shelter, they get full. And when they get full, there's nothing they can do. We don't have a no-kill shelter option. I mean, it's a regular old shelter, and so if they get full, that's it. So that doesn't sound ideal either. And then you have people who have cats that just bother them, and they say, I don't care, I just want the cats off my property, just get them off the property. I hear that when I talk to the people at the shelter. But the thing is you can't really satisfy them ever, because you could trap cats and take the cats away, but they'll keep coming back, and even if you get the one cat off that person's property, another cat will come. That person's not gonna like TNR, because TNR means that you trap the cats, you neuter them, and then you release them back, so that they're gonna keep coming on that guy's properties. You say, that same black cat keeps coming here. And they're gonna say, yeah, well, he's neutered. Well, he doesn't care that he's neutered, he's still coming on the property. But the fact that he's neutered means that he's not coming back to the property with his kids and grandkids. And so then, the whole thing is, how do we do it? And I used to have conversations with Dave Patriarca, and I've had conversations with people in animal control over the years, and the thing is, you do need volunteers to make it work. You need community volunteers. And so, who better than the people who already like feeding the cats? And I thought, what if there were a way to have some kind of outreach program to really reach out to these people? I can supply you names and addresses, but I mean, we could also just look at it as maybe targeting an area where it's known to have stray cat problems, just kind of send out to the residents, and they might say, hey, my neighbor likes to feed cats. Let me talk to my neighbor about maybe calling this number. And you can set it up. So what I wanted to say is basically kind of 3 concrete things about that. One is Bordentown does it. Bordentown does have a TNR ordinance, and people at the animal shelter say it's very successful. So I think that's worth looking at maybe. The other thing is that, what is the other thing? I don't know my brains. Yeah, so when it comes to implementing it, how do you do it? There is an organization out there that's equipped to help. Because I don't know the first thing about starting it, I really don't. I would help how I could, I would do what I can. I know my daughter loves cats, she would like to help. But to actually set it up from scratch, I couldn't tell you. But the people who can tell you would be, there's an organization called Friends of Burlington County Animal Shelter, and they work directly with the animal shelter, so they know all about how to get it started. I talked to Ms. Haynes at the shelter, and she would be glad to help anybody. Erica Haynes, she's great, and she can get everybody started here. Call this number, call these people, they'll help you out. So it'd be really nice if we could do that. And the other thing I wanted to say is, I heard a rumor that someone, I gotta wrap it up. I heard a rumor that somebody in town was trying to draft an ordinance for that. I don't know if that's a truth, if there's any truth to that rumor, but I'm gonna ask that you consider that. Possibly drafting an ordinance for TNR, because I think it will help everybody. I don't think it's gonna cost the township money either, so just wanna share that with you. Thank you very much.
James, I just wanted to respond before you leave the dais there. Yeah, I know Mrs. Haynes as well, and it was probably when my first year, I started talking to them in my restaurant about the TNR ordinance. I can tell you this, that the team is working hard on drafting an ordinance very, very quickly. We're looking at it right now, and it should be very, very soon, so stay tuned.
Cool, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Just to let y'all know, y'all do have a request from our trip there to try to sell some flowers. Just to let y'all know, the reason we're going to start having a lot more fundraisers is next year is going to be the National Jamboree down in West Virginia. And, when I went 2 or 3 years ago, it was about $2,000 per person to go down there. So the scouts are gonna try to, so you add inflation, so you're probably gonna look around 3,000 or so this year, or next year to go. So, that's why the scouts are gonna probably start doing a lot more fundraisers. So, and if, anyone is interested in scouting, they can go to the beascout.org and put in the level of scouting they want, the zip code, and it'll tell them where the closest packs or troops are. All right, so, that's, basically about it. So hopefully y'all will approve that, and I'll get the flyers out tonight. So, all right,
Thank you, sir.
okay, thanks.
Anybody else for public comment this evening?
I am Annalise and I'm from Filbert. I just wanted to say on a whole follow-up about scouting and that this donations also helps with, like, besides Jamboree, it also helps with funding for scouts to go on little trips that can help us learn and grow, learn new skills, and really just helps with our troop and our troop members, helps them to like learn new things, do more cool and fun stuff, and also recruit more members. And also another follow-up I want to do real quick is on TNR. TNR, Trap Neuter Release, it can also help with our little pest control. And it not only does it control cat population, it also helps keep out pesky insects and mice, and it's free too, so you can't go wrong with that. And no one likes mice in their house. But that's all I wanted to say. I hope everyone has a great night, and thank you.
Thank you, you too.
Great job.
Annalise, can I ask you how old you are? Can I ask how old you are?
Can't ask a lady.
I just gotta tell you, I'm very impressed with the way you presented yourself up here. You even held eye contact with every one of us. Job well done. Well done. 12? Beautiful. Congratulations, Dad.
Great job. Great job.
Anybody else for public comment this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting out. And we're on to resolutions. Consent agenda, all items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the Township Council, will be enacted by one motion. Should the council member wish to discuss a consent agenda item separately, that item can be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Does any council members have any resolutions that they want to hear or discuss this evening?
Yes, Council President, I'd like to discuss 154-2025, please.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so we just need a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended to discuss 154-2025.
I'll second that. Sorry, Dan.
Mr. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes. Mr. Harper, 154-2025, you have the floor.
All right. Kind of sorry that some of our people weren't here tonight to talk about this, but 154-2025 cross acceptance, I know it's something that we need to have done. And there's no bill for it, I don't even know what we're gonna be charged for it. This is what we got today, or last week. This is what we needed to get it approved through the county. I mean, if this was a high school project, and I turned this into one of my high school teachers, I think I'd get a failing grade, because it's so much fluff and filler in there. You know, that's why I say I don't know how much we're being charged for it, but I'm, really gonna scrutinize this, because you know, the only accurate information in the fluff and fillers, something we already paid for when we paid for having the 5-year UEZ plan done. They, you know, copied information out of that, and then some of the other information in there is so old. You know, I mean, I'm only a 5-year resident of this town, and I know the information is not accurate and correct. I don't mind these professionals coming, you know, getting paid for doing a project, but when they just wanna fill it up with wasteful, you know, I used to have a gym teacher, would give you a punishment assignment, 10,000 words on what it's like to live inside of basketball. That's what this reminds me of. You know, it's useless information. You know, we didn't need, we needed the professional to do his job and get us to, you know, the paperwork for the county, but we need to make sure it's done properly. And then one of the other things that's bothering me about this is that, you know, again, we're paying him, he's a professional subcontractor. I know he had conflicts with our, CD department, you know, as far as community development people. He's working for them, he's working for us, you know, and we need to make sure he realizes that. He needs to treat our people with the utmost of respect. He needs to treat us with a little more respect, because I know the 5 of us didn't need to sit up, you know, home and read all this stuff. And I know we called one another, says, you understand any of this? You know, it's 18-year-old information. You know, you could go to statistics and get this information. You know, so I'm gonna be paying close attention to the professional and see what he does charge us for this. You know, why give us 100 pages when we only needed 10? It's just my thought on this. I know we need this done. I know he had conflicts also with some of our other professionals. You know, he's trying to overstep his boundaries. But we're gonna keep an eye on these people, make sure that they're giving us what we ask for our money, and you know, nothing less. We deserve the best, and you know, nothing but the best. That's all I have to say. I mean, we need to approve this, but. You know.
Councilman, just so I think the public's aware, you can tell me if I go wrong.
Go ahead.
There were 2 different resolutions that were prepared by a planner.
Right.
We're not approving the big one, we're approving the one that you.
The amended one that, you know, our staff helped
That's correct.
correct it. Yeah,
That's
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because there was so many errors in there.
Yes.
And, you know, we deserve better from our professionals, you know, and just because there's X number of dollars in the pot, to do a project, don't mean you have to fill pages and pages to, you know, feel like you can charge us that amount, you know.
Just wanted to.
Right,
That's
yeah.
not the one we're voting on.
No, but, you know, that's what we originally got to look at, and if it wasn't for, you know, us up here looking through it and getting, you know, with community development and saying, you know, what is this? Is this needed? You know, this isn't correct, and getting it corrected, you know. Like I said, I'm waiting to see what the bill that comes in for this. We're gonna scrutinize it carefully. That's all I have to say.
If I can add a couple things, I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of money for copy, cut, and paste. The same individual, and I know this is gonna ruffle some feathers, but I don't really care. The planning board and Dave Banish are working on the master plan for this township. And this same person should not have any input or influence in what we're doing with the planning board. I have a feeling that he shows up to meetings where he's not supposed to be, and then he gets a paycheck. And I think that we really have to take a good look at this individual. He was hired to be a special planner, and he's all over the place. And our town's not big enough for 2 planners. Dave Banish is our planner at the planning board. That's all I got.
Hey, Danny, who controls the special planner?
I think it's probably our, do-nothing mayor.
Dirty ponytail, got it.
And also, I think if any bills that come across, I don't think they should be paid until we have all the documents of exactly what he did and who asked him to do it. Because it certainly didn't come from the council. That's all I got, guys.
What's before the council is the revised plan, which is not not really the one that Mr. Harper was speaking of, just so the public is aware.
Right. So we need a motion on 154/2025.
I make a motion to approve resolution 154/2025, the revised version.
I'll second.
Mr. Harper,
Yes.
Mr. Dewey,
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Mr. Ward.
Yes. Okay, on the new business, number 8A, special use permit, authorizes outdoor sale by BSA Troop 397 for the sale of Mother's Day flowers on camp cards and camp cards at the Browns Mill Shopping Center parking lot on May 9th, 2025 from 5:30 to 8 p.m. and May 10th, 2025 from noon to 5 p.m.
I make a motion,
We had an added resolution, and we have to make a motion on that?
No, it was added.
Oh, was that prior? Okay.
Yeah, we're good with that.
My fault, I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
I make a motion that we approve new business 8A.
Second that.
I'd like to just add one thing to that. I take it's supposed to be at the old Dairy Queen parking lot area, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I don't have a problem approving it, but I certainly think that the public works should go out there, being that there's gonna be a lot of people buying flowers, that there isn't any potholes, and I know there is a few out there, should be repaired in the event that somebody breaks an ankle or twists an ankle buying flowers on township property. So if you wanna add that into it, you can, but I think safety should be, number one. I have nothing against the Boy Scouts selling flowers. I just wanna make sure it's safe for everybody that's in that parking lot.
We can take it up with, Tom.
Okay?
Mr. Bianchini,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Mr. Harper,
Yes.
Mr. Dewey,
Yes.
Mr. Ward.
Yes. New business B, approves firefighter relief association applications for Pemberton Township Fire Company for Charles J. Dell. Questions, comments, concerns, or motion?
I make a motion we approve new business 8B.
Second.
Mr. Bianchini,
Yes.
Mr. Harper,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Mr. Dewey,
Yes.
Mr. Ward.
Yes. On to number 9, the approval by council required for payment of vouchers on bill list dated 5/1/2025. I'm gonna start off, if you guys don't mind. Okay, so, and this will be, well, one of the, yeah. I got a really big problem with the person that's not here this evening. And it's business, it's not personal. When you refuse to pay employees of the township for work that they're conducting on the township's time, and the council passed an ordinance to pay said employees, then council's gonna take issue with that for several different issues. And I'm specifically speaking, and I won't speak of any names, but the Community Development Office and the two people that are trying to put together an affordable housing plan that takes care of community members in this township and you refused to pay those employees, Mr. Mayor, when council approved it. Council approves the payment of all vouchers in the township, not you. So just so everybody knows, everybody that's waiting for an affordable housing payment in this township that is now being held up, is being held up by the mayor, not council.
Just to be clear, this is money sitting in an account, waiting to be distributed to all of you to help improve your homes, your lifestyle, and everything. As far as a business owner goes, when an employee works 40 hours, they're compensated by their salary. When they work above and beyond that, state law mandates you pay them overtime, or you pay a stipend for the additional work they're gonna do. These two employees have agreed to work diligently at these jobs to get this money that's sitting in an account out to you to be used by you for your homes. We are able to pay these individuals with this money so that it doesn't cost the taxpayers any extra money out of your pockets to pay these employees to get this money to you. And this is the money that's being refused to be given to these employees. It's not costing you an extra dollar in your taxes to pay these people. We are allowed to use the money, correct me if I'm wrong, sir. We are allowed to use a percentage of this money to compensate the employees for getting this money to you, and they are still being refused their compensation. That's a slap in the face to the residents. And the fact that the man can't even show up here to answer questions that I'm sure you would have for him in regard to this is another slap in the residents' faces.
This is the same person, the buffoon that who sits over there, and this personal for me, Jeff, not just business, because it's affecting the residents, the people that rely on us to represent them, so it's personal. We have spent over $100,000 on legal fees on this man. Over $100,000.
That's this year alone.
And that's for the 5 lawsuits, not to include the 6th one and the 7th one that we're going to be seeing pretty soon. Yes, a 7th lawsuit we're going to see. It makes me pretty damn angry. And it should make you angry too, because it's impacting our entire township.
Yeah, I mean, and not only did he choose not to pay, he's not paying. Certain people he's paying on that same resolution, and certain people, for whatever reason, he decided not to pay. You know, I mean, as I told the solicitor earlier, this borders on criminal acts. I mean, I can't believe that we can't get any help from the governor's office, the state attorney general's office. You know, they just turn a blind eye to this. You know, I guess it's an election year, nobody wants to get involved. Yeah. It's ridiculous, and as yeah, Josh and everybody else said, these are hard-working people. You know, I mean, they deserve to get paid for it, and you know, after a while, the money, you know, the money will revert back to the state if we don't use it in a timely fashion. You know, and on other issues that have come up, these, you know, most of these people, you know, inside this building and in other departments, they work their butts off. I mean, they try to find ways, there's monies that, you know, would let go because he didn't do work in a timely manner. And they try to find ways to use the money so that we don't have to raise your taxes and stuff. You know, these same department heads and all, they get together and say, you know, here's a grant, you know, we can use this for other things because, you know, administration isn't working to use it in a timely manner. It's a shame. Yeah.
To be clear on one more thing, the township, you people pay Mr. Dasty significant fees to do the things that are required so that we can do the things that you want us up here to do. Yet unfortunately, again, this month, $3,500 of your tax dollars has to be spent on Mr. Dasty to fight litigation that's already against this township. And Mr. Dasty, I'm gonna ask you a question. By him refusing to make these payments and authorizing it for the employees, I mean, does that potentially open us up to yet more litigation? If you can answer that?
Well, a little bit of history lesson. The money we're talking about is the affordable housing money, which was not tax money. It was monies paid by developers throughout the years. By law, they would have to pay a percentage of the assessed value of what they were building, and that's what's in the fund. We have found that you have about $1.5 million in there. And over the next 10 years, it is estimated that you will have another $1.5 million, because there are some projects in the pipeline, and this is 10-year things, that the COLA requirements, or affordable housing requirements are every 10 years. So now we're from 25 to 35. So we have already sitting in the bank $1.5 million, and we estimate that we will have over the next 10 years a similar amount, just because of hopefully the progression in the future that happens over the next 10 years, and the developers have to pay these same type of fees, none of which are taxpayer funds. The law requires that 20% of those funds be used for administration, professional planner fees, my fees, and the fees for the required, and these people are required by the COA regulations, liaison and administrative agent. The council has appointed those two people as the liaison and as the administrative agent to handle these funds. Now, I think you know that we're about to have, and there'll be enough notice put out, we're gonna have a public forum explaining to the public what these funds are about, how you can be eligible for them. We estimate that now, for the houses that need to be rehabbed, for people who qualify, you can get, there could be almost $20,000 per house. And generally speaking, that payment, whatever it is secured by a note, which is a 10-year loan. If you live in that house for the 10 years, and you don't sell the house, the loan goes away, it's done. If you sell the house in 5 years, half of the loan goes away, and it's pro rata. So that's what, and as you can imagine with government funds, there's paperwork involved. So that's what these people have been appointed by the council to do. It is not what they signed up for. It's new stuff, and you can imagine the amount of people who will want to be filing these types of forms. And these are the people who are gonna have to process them over and above what they normally do and over above the hours that they normally spend here. So that's what we're talking about. And at this point, I'm not sure how yet, but those payments have not been approved. No, I shouldn't say approved, they don't get approved. Those payments have not been sent to the CFO for processing, those vouchers, which were approved by the council. For our ordinance, for our statute, the council appoints the people and indicates the amount of the compensation. And that's in the ordinance we adopted 2 or 3 meetings ago. We have, as we sit here, 20% of about $1.5 million. We have $300,000, which I can't imagine we're gonna use that kind of money. But that's the kind of money that is not taxpayer funds, which is to be used for administrative expenses to process all of this for the benefit of the town. And at this point, those people who have been appointed by us, who have been told what their compensation would be for the extra work, and as far as I know, they're doing the work, they ain't getting paid. So, that's where we are. That's why it's not on the bill list, and that's why I presume the council brought it up when the bill list was on the agenda to be voted upon.
Anybody have anything else for the bill list?
I do.
Go ahead.
On the bill list, there is thousands and thousands of dollars of ARH.
Almost 30,000, Danny.
Huh? I'm sorry?
Almost 30,000. I was asked the same question.
Okay. And some of them are as late as April. They were done in January. And if these are back billing that they're digging up, number one, I don't wanna pay them until we have all the backup, what they did, and who called them.
Yeah, Danny, on a couple of them I can give you answers to. There's bills for West End.
I understand.
Water, that's supposed to be paid through escrow that we have from K-Hub Navian. There's a $660 one in there for tax maps. I believe that one's, Rose said that one was done. Ones on the first page, I'm not sure of. Some of those were for meetings where actually they represented Hub Navian at planning board meetings, so I'm not sure if we should be paying those or not,
Exactly. And even the ones with the Greenberg, right?
Well, the Greenberg ones, they put money in an escrow and then we take out of that escrow to pay them. That was,
I know how it works, Harry, but I wanna make sure
Yeah.
that the money is in escrow where it doesn't cost the township and the taxpayers for a developer.
I think it's, we're 100% positive that we've received everything, we don't pay them anything for any of the projects. With
Yeah.
escrow or not.
okay.
And why should it be, some of the things I believe were from last year, if I'm correct, I could be wrong on that. but
Yeah, on the
just-
first page, there's, three different things last
But
year.
as of January, they don't work for us anymore.
Well, they still are on a couple projects.
Yeah, they have
for
to
us.
finish up a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the, water garden.
Yeah, what it costs us.
$5,000 on a $135,000 grant, you know?
Well, they're working on the three New Lisbon projects, so, I mean, yeah.
Well, they get them off it, we got other engineers.
Now, we pre-agreed to let them do that, cause it was gonna cost us more if we started over. So we have to pay them on, I believe we assigned them 3 projects to finish up.
If they wanna get paid, we want the backup.
Well, I talked to Roe and Tom McNaughton, and they said they've gotten everything they were supposed to get. Now, I don't know, like I said, as far as stuff for planning board, I don't know, yeah.
If that's the case, have the department heads send us a note or something saying it's legit. You know, before we write a check, I wanna make sure it's legit. You know, it's the same company, we
Okay.
paid and testified against us.
All right, so you want something in writing from each department head, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay,
I wanna make sure it's all legit,
okay, I got you,
that's all.
yeah.
That's all I got.
And yeah, the only other thing I just wanted to make note, last meeting, we held off on paying, an individual for mileage, cause we weren't sure what was going on. I was, that's back on page 19 again, and I was told that was straightened out, and this will be the last mileage that person gets.
Last one.
Yeah,
Township vehicles.
I have no problem paying them.
yeah.
You know, we just can't see things written on the bill list without knowing what it is and having facts, you know, it's,
Okay, I understand you, Danny.
we could spend 2 hours on this bill list.
Well, I've been looking at it about
No, I'm-
4 or 5 different times over the last 4 days, I know that.
Yeah.
All right, so let me see if I can make this work. A motion to approve the bill list, taking out ARH bills until we receive in writing from each department head that they've received all their end results.
I'll second.
You know, Harry, it's like hydro seeding. One says we did it, one said we didn't do it, you know?
I know.
Mr. Harper,
Yes,
Mr. Bianchini,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Mr. Dewey,
Yes.
Mr. Ward.
No. Okay, do we have a solicitor's report or mayor's report?
Just a couple of things, Council President. We were authorized and directed to file suit against our former business administrator, Mr. Wright, for the 3 weeks or so that he was here. and asked the judge for a temporary restraining order so that he would stop coming to the building and stop, in my words, harassing a lot of the township employees, telling them that he's firing them. And last time on Facebook, there was some very disturbing things about shooting. We filed a complaint, and the order to show cause is gonna be heard tomorrow by the judge, so hopefully the judge will approve the temporary restraints, and we'll let everyone know. In the meantime, we have sent copies of all of those documents to all the employees of the town, because a few of them were understandably looking over their shoulder, a little worried. I noticed that the dry cleaning people left. We anticipate closing and selling the shopping center area to New Horizons, the buyer, within the next 30 days. So, and the last thing is, we adopted an ordinance last meeting to allow for agricultural uses in a certain zone, which all deals with the Kramer farm. There will no longer be warehouses on that property. It's gonna be a farm preserved forever. We've adopted an ordinance on first reading. Procedure is it goes to the planning board, which I guess is before them now. They have a meeting next week or so. And then assuming that they are in favor of that ordinance, it comes back to us for second and final reading. My thought is that we should have it resolved before the end of May, because we have one more meeting this month. That's what I have.
Thank you, sir. Okay, no mayor or business administrator this evening, so the seats are empty. Council member comments, so if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna start in the center tonight, and then we'll go through. Just wanted everybody to let everybody know again, the mayor is in violation of New Jersey statute because council still has not received a budget. It's been 30 days past. So Marty, just guess what? Just so everybody knows, if we don't get a budget soon, we might not have a water carnival. I'm hoping not, but I hope we get a budget, and I hope we get it approved. Number two, we still have not received a salary ordinance for 2025. We're halfway through the year. I wish I could sit up here as council president and have good news for everybody. I really do, every single meeting. But this is getting ridiculous. Some good news, I want to say I did attend a watch party that was held by the Brownsville Improvement Association for Birmingham. It was very well received. Everybody there, Alex, thank you for being there and doing what you did there. Marty, thank you for being there. And please tell Paulie, thank you for putting that all together. You know, I saw Chris and his brother at the restaurant this week from the gun shop, and you know, we were talking about it, so they come into my restaurant all the time, so that was fantastic. I hope everybody has a great Mother's Day. And that's all I have this evening, so whoever wants to go after that is fine by me.
Go ahead, Danny.
Jerry, I'd like to ask you a question for help. That screw up on Lakehurst Road in 70, could we get somebody from the State Department of Transportation and perhaps meet with the council, go out there on a field trip, and so they can explain what the hell they did there? Somebody's gonna get killed there. And for months, you know, at least every meeting, there's somebody complaining about it. Somebody's gonna get killed.
Kelly McBride is the head engineer for the state out there. I've talked to him, and he keeps promising to look at things, but haven't heard anything.
Councilman, I'll look into it tomorrow, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll get back to you.
I appreciate it, Jerry. I hate to put you on the spot.
That's right, no problem.
I can't see who's there, but I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Happy Mother's Day. And we'll see you hopefully at the next meeting. Thank you. Have a good night.
Harry, nobody follows Danny but you.
All right, okay. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate everybody coming out, and as you see, we're still in the same situation, nobody's sitting over on the far side. You know, I do wanna say, all the employees here are doing their best, they're working shorthanded. Like I said, I was at a couple staff meetings, they're trying to come up with solutions without the help that they need. You know, like I said, you know, making sure that funds don't get lost and the township gets the most out of them. So, you know, I gotta give kudos to all the staff here, you know, they're doing a great job, you know, and they're working under less than ideal situation there, you know, to say the least. You know, hit a little more on what Josh said, there's no salary ordinance, so people that, you know, should be having their annual raises aren't getting their annual raises. I understand there's a contract that should have been in negotiations by now, that's not going on. And yet we're, you know, left in the lurch with no explanations, you know. I arrived here today, with Matt, and, the mayor was leaving as we were coming in, and he just smirked and said, "You guys have a nice night." You know, that's his attitude about things, you know. I don't know. We're gonna keep trying to do things we need. I know Jerry just said about moving forward with New Horizon, but, again, Mr. Ellie's daughter and, son-in-law left already, but, you know, I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna sue if June 1st we say get out, and that project's gonna be tied up. And, you know, again, not to rain on anybody's parade, but New Horizons liable to bail out if they get held up, and it's nobody's fault but the mayor's. You know, he could have negotiated a deal, you know, with Mr. Ellie over 6 months ago. You know, and, you know, we not only had a couple $100,000 in our general fund to help pay lawsuits, but, you know, we had a refurbished building and, on the main drag, and, somebody paying taxes. It's just little things like that. I mean, you know, he just doesn't care, you know. But we're gonna do everything we can. On a lighter note, again, happy Mother's Day. Upcoming June 7th, there's gonna be, the annual fishing derby for the children. You know, you can, register online at the Parks and Recs Department or in person. I heard they had 120 some children out there last year. Hopefully we'll get that many out there or some more, you know. We need some good things happening in this town, you know. Everybody have a nice night. We're gonna keep fighting, yeah, for all of you, and we're gonna do the best we can with the tools we have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I do want to say happy Mother's Day to everyone. Hope it's a peaceful, happy one. You enjoy yourself with your family. Second of all, the amount of transparency that we're trying to provide to everybody, it always seems like we're providing you with negative information. Unfortunately, if we're going to be transparent and we're going to give you everything there is to give you, it's just not positive right now. It's not. Money sitting in an account waiting to be distributed to you guys upon approval and not making the payments is more disrespect to our employees. The number of lawsuits against this town right now that we are fighting desperately to handle is embarrassing. It is the lack of respect for our employees. As Josh said, you know, these as an employee, you wait for your annual salary increase. That's the way we tell you from what we see over the past year. You're doing a good job. Job well done. We're not able to do that for our employees. And by us providing that information to you shows you that we're not the quote-unquote bad guys here. We'd love to approve it. All you gotta do is put it in front of us. The amount of disrespect that's been shown to our employees is hurting this town. My biggest concern that nobody's thinking about, we've got contracts expiring this year with employees. I'm not sure if asked me, but I believe, from what I recall, I think the PBA, our police department, I believe their contract expires this year. And I am very, very concerned about the lack of respect that's been given to the people in the building here. And I can tell you, if that transcends, right now, we're down 10 police officers still. I am very, very concerned how many will be down if we don't get up and show our men how much we appreciate them. I'm sorry, the fact that we continue to harp on bad news, I wish there was good news, but the one thing I am very appreciative of is, it seems like what we're hearing, and what Valerie said when she came up, we appreciate the trust. We are doing everything we can that you guys asked us to do. This crime reform is huge. This is the first big step of what you guys put us here for. Preservation, this is huge. The only other thing I'll say on that is, everybody knows that North Pemberton Road was closed, and it's been open at night now with the repaving. The only thing that concerns me about a great job is, but I don't know if anybody's noticed, if you've come down it, that eastbound lane is significantly wider. Significantly wider. It's the first thing I noticed when I turned off the 206. I said, wow, there's no more grass on the right shoulder. It is gonna be paved telephone pole to telephone pole. And as far as I'm concerned, that's just concerning to me. It's a perfectly good road. Why is it wider now? Hope everybody has a good night.
Thank you.
Well, I think we've had enough, negative, but, I will tell you, I come to the township building on off nights sometimes when I have the Veterans Advisory Committee meetings. And the employees that we're referencing, their stipends are being withheld, they are here till well after 4:30, because I don't get here till 5 o'clock. That's the above and beyond. And it's not right. And if Tompkins is listening, resign already, will you? Your employees don't want you here, the people don't want you in that seat anymore, just go away. On a lighter note, the Economic and Business Development Council had their first 2 meetings, right, Marie? 2? I made the first one, I made the second one. A lot of great ideas, a great team put together. And another thing, when it comes to these committees, they are open to the public. If you want to come to a meeting, look on the website, find out where and when, and show up. If you have an idea, it's welcome. But we're hitting the ground running with that council. We've got a great team and a lot of great ideas. So stay tuned for that. The Memorial Day Parade and ceremony, that's been an all hands on deck event. The outpouring of support from the community has been unbelievable. I'm getting emails every day from different people. What can I do? What can I do? I have a son that is community hours. Can you help me out? You know, it's been wonderful. And it's going to be a great event. The parade, we're not gonna have enough room to set up in the parking lots behind the school, behind Stackhouse. That's many people we have that are signed up to march this parade right now. So, get ready. It's gonna be a great event. If you do wanna volunteer, please reach out to me, at my township email address. It's on the website. Just go there for it. Reach out to me. Let me know if you're available. I'm sure we can find you something to do. That's all I have. Happy Mother's Day. Have a great night, and thank you for still supporting us. We know it's not easy right now. It's a lot of bad stuff going on, but I promise you, it'll get better. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we just need a motion to adjourn the meeting, please.
Motion to adjourn.